Hi, how you going? It's Kate here, just coming to you live this Friday afternoon. Just wanted to chat to you quickly. I think last time I came on here, I told you about a book that I had been heard a lot about and I just had been reading called Behaviours by Mona Delahooke, which is this book here I have. And I was reading some more chapters last night and, this morning, and just kind of, again, wanted to share a bit of the insights and a bit of the perspective that she takes, which sort of adds to our understanding behaviour, but really more, I suppose, child and adolescent mental health and wellbeing, which comes a lot from sort of understanding that early infant behaviour a lot better. So one of the things she does a really good job of describing in there is about the different foundations, I suppose, that sometimes can get overlooked when trying to decipher or understand kids' challenging behaviour, and how often behaviour, we kind of look for the obvious stuff, and sometimes we talk about this iceberg model where we have like the tip of the iceberg is what we can see. And underneath is a much bigger slab of ice, but it's a picture that we don't always take as much notice of. We can see the top of the iceberg, but we can't see what's underneath the waterline. And sometimes we describe this as being kind of all those things that are happening underneath, and the behaviour a child or young person might be displaying is the obvious stuff that we can see on the top. But we can not take into account all the other stuff that's happening underneath. So she sort of uses this model a little bit in her book. But one of the things that she really talks about, which I super resonated with, is the fact that sometimes the regulation systems and the sensory systems of young people don't get as much attention as they should, in terms of understanding that kids being dysregulated and kids' sensory systems being activated and over aroused, or maybe if they've already got a sensory system that is under aroused and they're trying to meet that need for their body, sometimes that can result in behaviours or misbehaviours or things that they're doing that people are concerned about, whether it's parents or educators or that kind of thing. And certainly she sort of talks about that being sort of a missing part sometimes of child and adolescent kind of perspectives. Even psychology certainly wasn't really looked at in my training, but it's something, of course, that occupational therapists do a really wonderful job of having a good understanding about. I'm, I suppose, fortunate in my role, and having worked with autistic individuals and people for quite some time, that's something that I've always tried to get lots of information about and pay lots of attention to, because I've known just from talking with them and understanding where they might be coming from, that plays a really big part in perhaps anxiety or mood or stress or other kinds of behaviours that you might see. So it's something that I've certainly wasn't trained in so much, but it's become part of what I do, but doesn't live so comfortably inside the psychology or mental health kind of background necessarily. So she sort of talks about the importance of that, and how we really need to be mindful of that if we're going to truly understand what's happening when we see the tips of the iceberg, the behaviour that kids might be presenting with. She then also kind of talks about how it's so important that first steps are about safety and relational safety, in terms of so that they can come out of that dysregulated or sort of over-aroused or hypervigilant state, to have a space where they can feel safe, and then you can really begin to do sort of work following from them. But we have to be mindful of finding a way of getting back to that. So if we're not doing that as our first step, then we're probably going to be putting in strategies and ideas and skill training that probably won't land. It won't happen if they're not feeling safe, they're not feeling regulated. So, and again, we don't know that unless we get a really good picture of what's kind of happening for them. So it really just, I suppose, resonates with my perspective anyway, and I love the way she sort of explains it so clearly. there's good checklists and things like that. So if you're interested, her book is really, really good for whether it's practitioners or for parents and family members as well, trying to get a good understanding about why kids do what they do and how can we best help them. I think her perspective is really great, and hoping that we see a whole lot more of that kind of be taken on board sort of in a mainstream way, especially, you know, when we can sometimes get very focused on just attending to what we see and trying to find ways to reinforce or extinguish behaviour without really understanding the why of the behaviour and what is you know, affecting that, what's kind of making them feel unsafe, and then perhaps what's activating some of those behaviours, because they don't come from nowhere. So that was just a couple of ideas that sort of resonated really nicely from my perspective, and it fits so nice with the way I like to work with kids, teens and young people. So just thought I would share that for you this Friday afternoon. So I've actually got to go. I've got to head off to a hair appointment. So thank you for watching with me, and share this for other people if they might be interested. And I will catch you next Friday afternoon. Take care. Bye.